Bonsoir à tous, chers abonnés, chers spectateurs. Je m'appelle Jean et vous regardez le NASCAR Live ce soir. Aujourd'hui, j'ai une interview Stéphanie Moyer, qui est pilote d'ARCA MENARDS Series pour la Fast Track Racing. Un grand merci à toi à toi Stéphanie d'être avec nous ce soir. Thank you so much, Stéphanie, to be with us tonight.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Okay. Don't be like I said in off. Don't be disturbed by the translation and the switch between the French and English, etc. So, je rappelle, comme d'habitude, que cette interview est interactive, donc n'hésitez pas à interagir avec nous dans l'émission. Avec Stéphanie, je me permets l'aparté anglophone. So, hello everybody, welcome to the NASCAR Live. Tonight, I interview Stéphanie Moyer, racing driver at Fast Track Racing in the ARCA MENARDS Series and ARCA MENARDS East Series. This interview will be in French, translate to English. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to share it in the chat box. So, je souhaiterais aussi, tu peux le dire en anglais, Eric, remercier Bill Elkins pour les photos que je vais utiliser.
Oui.
Vas-y, Eric, on t'écoute. Je vais faire toute l'interview en anglais, en fait.
Je sais pas traduire comment ça.
Ouais. Vas-y, tu le traduis normal.
Oh, ouais. Ouais, excuse. Bon, ben. J'ai pas entendu que je suis besoin de traduire, je m'excuse. J'ai manqué complètement.
Non, mais tu dis, so I said I also like to thank Bill Elkins for the photos. You know, Bill Elkins.
Yeah.
And so thank you everybody to be with us today. So tu cours, donc on va commencer l'interview tout de suite les amis, puisque apparemment Eric un peu intimidé, c'est lui qui est le plus intimidé que Stéphanie.
Ouais.
N'hésite pas à traduire, t'inquiète. Hein.
Ouais.
Donc tu cours, Stéphanie, sur la voiture numéro 12 et sur la voiture numéro 1 de la Fast Track Racing.
Steph, you have the number 12 and the number 1 for Fast Track Racing. Talk about it.
Yep. So I switched between them. I'm gonna keep it on the down low. I like the 01 better, but so I switched between the two. The 12s normally like short track, intermediate, and the 01s sometimes intermediate, super speedway. So I do get the switch. It all depends. So for me, I'm not currently set to one car. So whoever kind of brings the more sponsorship that already requests that specific car already gets it. So I'm not entitled to, the same car every race that I get. So, but it is fun. I enjoy it. And honestly, I'm so excited for my next race. I'm still getting used to it. But if I could go back to, my roots, I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't because I just got comfortable in the ARCA series. So it's definitely a journey and I like it so much.
Ok. Vas-y, Eric.
J'ai besoin de traduire tout ça.
Oui.
Bah.
Globalement, quoi.
Bah, je vais l'essayer, quand même.
Oui.
Mais Steph est un pilote dans la série ARCA. Elle disait qu'elle conduit le 12 puis le 01. Mais elle aime le 01 un peu plus que le 12. Ouais, elle est fière d'être dans la série. Elle aime bien être là. Elle disait si elle a le choix d'être en home track ou faisant de l'ARCA, elle pourrait faire l'ARCA 1000 fois.
Ouais.
Et elle est contente. Elle va courser encore cette année. Elle ne sait pas vraiment quand.
Ouais.
Mais elle a hâte de continuer dans l'ARCA. Elle a hâte de continuer sa carrière en tout ça. Mais pour l'instant, elle ne sait pas si elle va conduire encore, si c'est le 01 ou le 12.
D'accord. Elle ne sait pas le numéro.
Non, c'est ça.
Ok. Et elle a des pistes déjà pour les prochaines épreuves d'ARCA?
Do you have anything lined up, Steph?
For right now, we're staying with Fast Track for the rest of the season. I am racing Milwaukee next weekend, so I'm super excited for that. And then for the rest of the season, we're just playing it by ear, and we're trying to round up as much sponsors as we can.
Alors, on va courser à Milwaukee dans une semaine. En train de trouver des commanditaires, parce que c'est difficile là-bas. Mais l'autre char a un pilote pour tout le reste de la saison. Et après Milwaukee, elle ne sait pas. Peut-être trouver des commanditaires continuer dans le futur, mais peut-être pas. Elle ne sait pas.
D'accord. Et Milwaukee, c'est une course d'ARCA. Milwaukee, it's an ARCA race.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
C'est Milwaukee Mile, right?
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Okay. And
Un bel piste Milwaukee.
hein?
C'est
What's that?
un mile.
Un
Un
mile.
piste de 1 mile. Oh, il est beau. Il est vraiment, vraiment beau. Le Xfinity Pre-Truck, pour celle-là dans le passé aussi.
I'm sorry, my chair is broken. It's incredible.
Comment ça t'a brisé déjà? Ça a juste commencé.
Maybe I will fall in the middle of the show. On verra. we will see.
I mean,
Don't worry about me.
Let's hope not.
When we did this the last time was in that big tornado we had in Gaffney. Remember that big storm?
Yeah.
I was in the JD office, and there were guys running around the shop because there was water coming in. And the guys were messing around.
He had water on the knees. Near of the knees.
Leighton was running around back and forth.
And Ryan Vargas come.
Vargas popped in, said hello.
I hope one day I will. J'espère un jour pouvoir interviewer Ryan Vargas. I hope one day interview Ryan Vargas. It's possible.
Oh, he'll for sure definitely come on here. He loves the interviews. Any exposure he can get, that kid is for, you know. Props to him.
Je vais lui texter après. On va le voir.
Ryan, tu vas lui texter après? Bah vas-y. Hein.
Ah, t'as déjà rencontré Ryan des fois.
Quand tu veux. Hein. When you want. Ryan Vargas, when you want.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I am with my children, you know, I have 2 children. Even my child, I hear Ryan, you can come. I don't know if you understand the joke. Alors, on va reprendre les questions un peu plus. Je rappelle que Fast Track Racing est une petite équipe d'ARCA, hein, pour ceux qui ne savent pas en français, et que le gap entre les grands top teams, enfin entre les autres top teams peuvent être grands, hein, comme GMS, DGR Crossley, Joe Gibbs Racing. Qu'est-ce que tu peux nous dire sur qu'est-ce qui techniquement fait la différence par rapport à une équipe comme Joe Gibbs Racing et Fast Track Racing? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a techniquement comme différence par rapport à 2 voitures?
So he's asking, because you drive for Fast Track, which is a smaller team, he's asking what the technical and the big differences are between driving for like for your team and versus like a GMS or a Gibbs Racing or something like that. What are the challenges? What are the kind of what happens sort of deal?
So for us, being that we're a low budget team, and like compared to Joe Gibbs, they're a high budget team. So basically their equipment is a lot better and newer compared to what we have at Fast Track. So, I mean, the most we got, I know my car, the 12 car, is at least a 7th place finish car, you know. So it's still in the top 10 compared to like a Joe Gibbs car where you're running the top 5 every weekend. And, you know, you got the better equipment for that. So
you start the race with used tires or fresh tires, for example?
It depends. If I get a full sponsorship that weekend or enough sponsorship to cover a set of tires, we could do that. If not, we get scrubs, but we do go to different teams to see if they have maybe 5 laps on a set of tires that they're not even using, and we'll just buy it off of them. So it all depends. If we bring the full sponsorship, we do get a brand new set of tires.
Okay, and what race you did with fresh tires on the start?
It would probably have to be Pensacola. Yeah.
At Five Flags Speedway, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun track. I like that one.
And I have a question about. Je vais faire toute l'interview en anglais. I will do the interview in English finally. Lol. Qu'est-ce qu'elle peut nous dire sur le Five Flags Speedway? quelle est la,
Oui.
qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire pour aller vite sur ce circuit-là qui est très célèbre pour les courses de super late?
What did you think about Five Flag Speedway, and what did it take you to actually, run some good laps there and do well there?
Okay, so being it was my debut race in the ARCA series, going from a street stock right to an ARCA car was big jump. So for me, it was a little difficult in the first couple laps. Our qualifying and practice got rained out, so they just made it one. So we had practice and qualifying in the same time. So being that I didn't have the practice before the qualifying was a little rough, only being that I've never been there. I've never raced there before. I've never been there when I interned for ARCA back in 2018. So it's just like, it was kind of a little bit of nerve-wracking for me, only because you have fresh meat coming to this track when you have other, racers that have been there before. So it's kind of like intimidating, and being the only female that was there, getting my butt whooped, in qualifying. So it's just like, it was interesting, but it only took me a couple laps to pick it up. I did spin out twice, but you're a rookie. That's going to happen when you try to learn a different track that you've never been on.
Yeah. Si tu peux traduire globalement.
Ouais. Alors, sa première course à Pensacola, Five Flag Speedway, c'est vraiment sa première vraie course en ARCA. Alors, d'aller à home track à ARCA, et avant ça, elle faisait seulement le test à Daytona. Alors, un vrai course comme ça, il n'y avait pas de... Il était supposé avoir un pratique et un qualif tout séparé, mais à cause, il y avait de la pluie, comme toujours à Floride, au Five Flags, comme d'habitude. Ils faisaient une session juste tout ensemble. Alors, ça prenait du temps pour elle, quand on a commencé la course. Elle disait comme 5-6 tours, pas bien loin d'une course. Elle était correcte avec. Mais encore, le char, c'était pas comme super excellent. Mais elle a spiné 2 fois, comme elle disait, elle est un rookie, elle est en train d'apprendre tout ça. Et elle était la seule fille là-bas aussi, alors il y avait la pression sur elle aussi, avec les amateurs et les autres personnes dans une course qui voient « Ah, une autre fille! » et toute la pression qui s'en vient avec ça.
Il y a une grosse pression par rapport au fait que c'est une fille qui sont mis par d'autres pilotes. Tu peux me demander.
Do you think there's a lot of pressure being the only female?
No. So I grew up being the only female in my street stock class up until I think last year or the year before. So I've been in the street stock for the last 8 years. So you kind of get used to it after a while when you're running with the big boys. But being that, with this sport, it's just a lot of higher end stuff compared to, your local track. So it is a little bit of a different atmosphere and perspectives and personalities.
Mm-hmm. Alors pour elle coursait en super stock à sa piste pour 8 années comme être la seule fille là-bas. Alors pour elle, il n'y a pas beaucoup de pression parce que elle faisait ça toute sa carrière en super stock. En commençant, alors c'est pas si pire pour elle.
Est-ce que je voulais lui demander qu'est-ce qui lui a donné envie de se lancer dans la course automobile?
Quoi?
Qu'est-ce qui lui a donné envie de se lancer dans la course automobile?
Oh, what made you want to race?
So it runs in the family. My dad used to race, my uncles raced, and then my brother raced. And then I kind of, being around it my whole life, you kind of get stuck with it. And it's just like, hey, I want to do that. So that's what happened. We started off on go-karts. I did 2 years in the go-karts on dirt, got my championship my second year. And then I've been in the street stocks, factory stocks where we are for 8 years. I shared a shared title championship in 2017. And then last year I finally got my single-handedly championship in the factory stock division.
Alors, c'est tout dans sa famille. Sa mère, son frère, tout ça. Et c'était toujours dans les familles à la même piste, avec à peu près le même char. Et elle a gagné le championnat tout seul. Are you the only champion in your family?
No, my late brother got the championship in the same car that I did. I've been racing his factory stock.
Alors,
elle n'est pas championne 2020 de factory stock?
You were 2020 champion in factory stock?
Yes.
Yeah. You sure?
Yeah. Yeah.
Difficult question.
Yeah. Sorry, I just blanked. I forgot what year we're in. Oh wait, no.
Whoa.
Yeah, 2019, right? Yeah, because we weren't racing because of COVID. No. No,
Yeah.
2020. Yeah, 2020. I can't keep up with the dates now. What happened?
And where it's a regional championship, factory stock.
Just the local. We
Local?
we don't do traveling with our division, so we just race at the home track every weekend.
Ok. Il y a une grosse compétitivité dans ces championnats-là locaux ou pas?
Is there a lot of competitiveness in these championships?
It depends. Like with our division, our car counts weren't really that great. Everything was mainly 4 cylinders. That's what was hot, I guess you can say. The hot division, everyone wanted to go to 4 cylinders, and then you have the modified guys. Our class is literally like an off-brand of a street stock. So the street stock had a killer car counts every weekend, every time they're on the roster. So it was a little difficult for us, but for our big races, our scheduled big races, we did have a lot of competitors.
Alors, dans plusieurs courses à sa piste, le car count, ça dépend. Des fois, c'est bon, des fois, c'est pire. Mais comme compétitif, c'était vraiment compétitif. Les autres séries, c'était la même chose pour elle à sa piste. Alors, ouais.
Okay. Okay, so I will show some photos, like I said, and for first this photo at Pocono, and I have several questions for Pocono, for your Pocono experience. J'avais plusieurs questions pour ton expérience à Pocono. Quelles sont tes impressions sur cette piste?
What are your impressions of the track? Pocono.
So at first, I was a little sketched out coming into that because Pocono was one of my least favorite tracks. Being that it was my home track, I was there so many times that I just got tired of going. And just being that it's a triangle kind of really drew me a different way. And everyone I've talked to said, you have that opinion now, but once you get on the track and you do some laps, you're going to like it. And right at the end, there you go. I liked it. It was so fun being that it wasn't, doing your combined turns, I guess you would say. And having to go down the longest straightaway was so cool because you get the feeling of getting so close to the wall to where your car just goes like this. Like you can feel the wind hitting off your car, and it's crazy. Like there's just so much stuff that you had to learn for your first time being there and stuff that I'd say over the radio. Is this supposed to happen? They're like, yes, just let it ride. You're good. And, just going to that race, I did have a different perspective, but doing some laps and, thinking to myself, wait, this is my home track. I'm never going to get this opportunity, to race on it. And at the end of the day, it was probably one of the funnest tracks I've drove on.
I have a question for these photos. We see a little. On voit une petite étiquette sur les pneus, Eric. Je sais pas si tu vois. Ça veut dire que les pneus sont des pneus frais ou c'est des pneus usés, peu importe. Ça veut rien dire.
Les étiquettes?
Tu vois sur
ça c'est tout frais. C'est nouveau tire.
Okay, so it is fresh tires here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You start the race with fresh tires on one side or all of the car.
So there's a story behind that. I actually spun out in qualifying and I flat spotted my tires. Mm-hmm. And so we did get a fresh new set that were put up, which made me have to go to the rear for the start of that race. But yeah, they're fresh.
Alors, elle a tourné le char en pratique.
Du coup, elle a mis les pneus plats.
Ouais, exactement. Ouais. Alors, elle n'avait pas le choix de prendre des tout nouveaux, des tout neufs. Alors, à cause de ça, elle a commencé dernier pendant la course. Hey, as-tu vu le clip de quand elle a manqué la crash après coin 2?
Ah
C'est un
non,
des Reese's Move of the Race.
ah non,
Elle a
j'ai pas mis ça.
manqué. Ouais, ben, je vais essayer de trouver, mais il y avait un gros crash après coin 2. Elle était
Ouais.
juste en arrière. Foncé les freins, juste manqué par comme 1 centimètre. Et c'était un des top 3 Move of the Race.
Ah ouais,
Ouais.
yeah.
You remember that?
Bravo.
That really butt puckering moment. Oh my gosh.
Ah, j'avais
That
pas.
happened at like the last minute too, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go down because they spun out between what was it 2 and 3,
Yep.
and the kid went up, so I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go low, and then as soon as I start going low, here he comes. I'm like, oh no. And it was this close to smacking the back end of his car. And I went over the radio after I went back around and I said, you know what? I puckered my butt cheeks that time because that was really close.
Yeah, Axel, that I talk about before the show. Axel, he is an expert of Little Team. Ask you, have you a favorite driver, an idol? Je sais pas si on dit une idole, un idole, un pilote favori, quelqu'un que tu idolâtres. Comment tu pourrais
Ah,
dire ça?
comme un héros type chose?
Ouais,
Type chose?
like a hero driver.
Oh,
Have
okay.
you a favorite driver in NASCAR?
Favorite driver. Oh, so I'm a big fan of Truex, Martin
Yeah.
Truex. So because he's close to home, you know, so he's really good. But I'm also a fan of Harrison Burton in the Xfinity series. That kid can drive, and you know what? Ty Gibbs, honestly, as much as people talk, it takes 2 to drive. You need the car and the driver, despite what kind of differences are made. But, you know, it's just, there's a lot of kids to pick from, but I have to say Harrison Burton's one of my favorite.
I don't even know that. Il disait qu'un de ses pilotes préférés maintenant, juste en général, c'est Harrison Burton en série Xfinity.
Ouais.
Et même Ty Gibbs aussi dans la série qui a conduit là-dedans.
Elle
J'ai
parlait pas de
envoyé
Martin Truex
la vidéo.
et
C'est sur
Martin
Twitter.
Truex Jr. Elle parlait pas de Martin
Et
Truex.
Martin Truex Jr. en Monster.
Okay.
Did you have a favorite driver growing up?
I didn't. You know what? I'm going to be honest, Sharon. I didn't like NASCAR until I got into racing. So
Elle avait pas de NASCAR avant qu'elle a commencé.
I, you know, growing up, I thought it was boring. You know, we would have these NASCAR parties, and I would always be like, "Mom, can I go home?" And she'd be like, "Yeah, go home," because we would always have at my grandmother's house. But I've never got into it until I started watching my brother race when I was younger, and ever since then it's like, you know, where it hit you. But
Alors, elle n'aimait pas de NASCAR, elle pensait que c'était pas. C'était en Québec, des Moyer. Et moi, c'est ça, elle n'aimait pas. Chaque fois que c'était sur la télé, elle voulait retourner à la maison ou partir en
Sérieux? À la base, tu
général.
n'aimais pas la NASCAR.
Non,
Basically, you don't like the NASCAR
bon, avant.
when you was a little girl.
no, I was a girly girl when I was little, so I wasn't into, you know,
Oh.
like any racing type. I was in the Barbies, you know.
Yeah. So, la vie est faite que. So if we have some English people in spectators, or don't hesitate to ask your questions to Stephanie in the chat box. Okay, we can answer in English, in French, and whatever. Yeah, Axel have another question for you. Alors, est-ce que son but, c'est juste de finir la course de manière honorable, on va dire, ou est-ce que elle cherche à battre certaines écuries, donc des écuries du même niveau, des pilotes du même niveau, par exemple?
Are your goals for the ARCA stuff, is it just to finish the race, or is it you kind of set other goals and you try to kind of catch people, or let's say like reach a top 5 or something along that line?
So for me, my streak in the beginning was top 10s only because like being a rookie, it kind of looks really good to get that top 10 finishes. And so every race for me is there's a couple goals. So one would be finishing the race with no damage, you know, being able to get some experience with running next to someone and actually, you know, battling for position, because like being with our equipment, it's hard for us to do that because one minute, you know, we're doing good, the next minute here comes the leader. So it's very hard to track depending. So for me, it's just basically getting as much experience as I can to take for next year.
Avant qu'elle a commencé, c'était pour être en top 10. La première course, ça a l'air bon pour un rookie s'ils sont toujours en top 10, à cause que, ben, pour le futur. Mais après ça, c'était les goals, ça changeait, comme être mieux que eux autres, faites un bat côte à côte avec du monde, faites des choses comme ça. Mais pour elle, c'était difficile parce que si elle était côte à côte avec quelqu'un, c'est toujours les leaders qui s'en viennent en arrière pour lapper ou faire quelque chose comme ça. Alors, c'est compliqué pour elle avec le char qu'elle a.
D'accord.
Ouais.
D'accord, ok. Alors, je cherche, I'm looking for a pick, a great pick, and your friend did amazing pick, amazing photos, and okay, and I have questions about Pocono and this pick, this one, because this photos is very interesting for you know the orange. Les cônes oranges. Les cônes oranges. Et est-ce que tu as des points de repère pour le premier virage, tellement qu'il est serré, tellement qu'on arrive vite dedans? Et quel est le bon point de repère pour ce premier virage à Pocono?
Ben, tu te demandes le premier coin à Pocono? Là?
Bah, tu vois, tu as les plots jaunes, orange. Tu as le
mais ça, c'est
un
un
cône,
prix.
2 cônes, 3 cônes.
Ça, c'est d'un prix. Là.
C'est des?
C'est les comptes d'un prix. Alors, c'est là pour le pit-out.
Pour le Peter, d'accord.
Ouais. Pour le pit road, c'est quand il part les prix, il y en a des comptes là-bas pour de pas y aller là-bas.
D'accord.
Ouais.
Ok. Et ça sert pas de point de repère pour parce que nous dans les jeux vidéo pour le dire.
Non, ils sont jamais sur la piste. Il y a seulement un à l'avant de pit road, c'est tout.
Non, mais tu sais, les cônes sur le grillage, on parle pas des mêmes cônes, je crois, Eric.
Oh, ok, excuse.
Tout à l'heure, je crois qu'on parle des mêmes cônes.
I started something in French. But essentially, what he's asking is the cones on the wall. Do you use those as a reference? Do you look at them at all? Because especially at Pocono with the braking zone, do you do any of that?
So with the cones, it's basically like trying to hit my mark. So the first set would be 3, and then the next 2, and then the next 1. So being that I was never on racing Pocono before, my team owner actually said we're going to start off a little slow just to get your lines and, you know, to figure out where you're going to go. So we'll start off at letting off at between 3 and 2, and then when I finally got comfortable, we would be letting off at the last cone. So cone 1, 3, 2, 1. So it pretty much helped me with my braking points and letting off, and especially like, was it the tunnel turn? The tunnel turn's a little difficult, so like the cones on that end actually helped a lot. The cones, these ones right here, didn't really do so much. I mean, I kind of got the hang of one really quick, so those ones I used for maybe 3 laps.
So so tu commences à ralentir en fait après que tu te sois exercé. After some practice, you brake at the final cone or you just slow down?
So what we would do is I would technically let off of the gas a little bit, and then as soon as I got a little bit past the cones, you do hard braking into 1. So it kind of like, you drive it in really hard, I guess you want to say, and then you just hard brake it.
So, because in Cup Series, I don't know where they brakes because their cars are faster than ARCA cars, you know. So you brake at last corner, enfin last cone. Enfin, Eric, faut que tu m'aides.
Elle disait que quand tu rentres dans un coin, tu vois le compte. Si c'est vraiment la pointe qu'elle tourne pour le coin, elle commence de freiner un peu. Mais tu digues dans un coin quand bien fort et quand tu es dans le coin, tu freinais vraiment tête. Alors, quand elle a commencé, qu'elle disait avant, c'est quand elle faisait ses premiers tours là-bas, elle faisait à la pointe de 3 comptes. Elle faisait que son team owner disait pousse pas à cause que tu es tout nouveau à cette piste, tout ça. Alors, frein à la 3e ou la 2e. Mais après la pratique, elle faisait après le premier. À cause qu'elle peut le faire, elle a confiance dans ça. Mais oui, elle va tourner là-bas. Elle va commencer de décélérer, mais taper les freins juste après le dernier compte.
Okay, and the fastest turn is turn 2.
The total turn.
Right?
Yeah, because you're literally letting off just for like a split second, and then you're back on the gas. So the turn's a little bit different compared to the other two.
Okay. Elle freine pas du tout, c'est juste un petit ralentissement, quoi. You brake a little bit or very not at all?
I would probably say I'm on the brake for 2 seconds, if not maybe a second and a half. So it is a quick turn.
Maybe Ty Gibbs with his equipment, he don't brakes.
He doesn't
need to brake.
The car just does it for him.
He fly. Ty Gibbs fly.
C'est un blague parce qu'il y en a des jokes que son char, c'est comme un char de Formule 1. Il n'y a pas besoin d'en faire absolument rien là-dessus. Alors, il peut juste aller dans un coin et ça va juste faire pour lui.
Mais c'est marrant parce que nous, on a plein en France. In France, we have a lot of questions about the competitivity between Corey Haim and Ty Gibbs and their cars. And I think personally, you have a limit of. Ils ont une limite de technique, c'est-à-dire qu'au bout d'un certain moment, les voitures ne peuvent plus être améliorées. Ils sont à fond, Corey Haim et Ty Gibbs, ils ont les meilleures voitures et ils n'ont pas vraiment de différence entre leurs voitures en fait.
Non. Well, on va demander Steph aussi. What do you think of like Corey Haim and Ty Gibbs? Like, do you think it's the car? Do you think it's them, their skill? Because you've raced with them, so you know. I mean,
I think it's a little bit of both. Because they both are wheelmen. So it's just like
wheelman.
They are. They're good at what they do, and I feel like they can adapt to anything. But like being their car setup, though, I think that has a lot to do with it too. So I want to say both because they're very compatible, like all the time. So I don't know. They're always fighting for the win. So I'm gonna have to say both.
Should dump him. Oh, sorry.
Vas-y.
I'm kidding.
Qu'est-ce que tu racontes, Cocotte?
Ouais, non, elle disait que c'est vraiment les deux. À cause que le char, ça peut être magnifique, mais le driver en arrière doit avoir un peu de skill pour en faire qu'est-ce qu'il faut. Et eux autres ils battent pour le victoire chaque week-end, alors il doit avoir plus que juste le char, elle pense.
Okay. And for example, Daniel Dye. You know Daniel Dye?
Yeah.
Why you laugh?
It's a very touchy subject, but I've never got to actually meet him in person, but online I've heard a lot.
Ouais, il y a un peu du rivalry un peu entre les deux en ligne.
Entre Stéphanie et Daniel?
Ouais.
Oh. Ouais.
C'est intéressant.
Est-ce qu'on peut savoir pourquoi?
Why, Steph?
I swear to God. Okay, so you know what? Pensacola being my debut race, I am a racer with respect. I've grew up around respect for being a family short track racer. And for me, I haven't forgotten my grassroots of where I started. And so coming into Pensacola, I came in with respect. I knew being my first race, I'm going to get lapped. And I've given so much room for the leaders. I've given 2 lanes when I'm only supposed to give 1. And so I get dumped coming out of 4, and it being my fault apparently, but I was in front of the guys on the lead lap, and then I get a Twitter war saying that I'm the reason why almost half of the field wrecked out, and no one wrecked out. Everyone had no issues of getting around me except for this one person. He busted his radiator, and beforehand his pit crew put the tires on the opposite sides of where they were supposed to be. So he was already furious before I even got dumped, and he spun me, and then apparently it was my fault. This is a big thing. I've moved past it because the kid was having a really bad night towards the end. So I've moved past it, but it's just like, I know in the back of my head for now, like when this stuff is like, if it continues to happen, then there's going to be, a talk about it. But other than that, I don't care anymore. It's in the past. This is the first race. So obviously, like, he was going to get heated because I've never been there. And, I think being some of the stuff that he had said, like lap cars should not be racing or be on the track. That's how you get experience. You get in a car, you drive, you gain experience, and you gain knowledge of why you're not supposed to do this and why you should do this. So you learn from your mistakes, and that's what it takes to be a driver and to better yourself. So no matter where you start, being on the lead lap or getting lapped, you're still gaining the experience.
Alors, pour le monde français, il y avait un gros bat. Sa première course à Pensacola, c'était comme on a parlé avant. Elle était tout nouveau à tout ça, tout le stock, whatever. Ouais, exact. Mais pendant la course, Daniel Dye avait des problèmes. Son pit crew a mis les tires à l'envers. Alors, les gauches sur les doigts sur le gauche. Ça arrive des fois. Un pit crew comme ça. Wow. It happens. Like pit crew guys, it happens. Rarely, but when it does, it does. Et après ça, il était pas content, il était frustré, son course était pire. Steph était des tours en arrière déjà, à cause qu'elle essaie d'apprendre, d'être spiné une fois avant ça. Mais en point, pendant la course, Daniel était en arrière elle, et il a crashé par exprès. Il a tourné elle pour un jaune, par exprès, après le pit stop. Alors, il était pas content, blabla. Il a brisé son radiateur plus tard dans la course à cause de ça. Et apparemment, à lui, sur Twitter, c'était toute sa faute. C'est sa faute qu'un demi de le field a crashé. Même s'il y avait comme un char qui a crashé toute la course. Alors, ça commençait comme une bataille pour rien. Et même dans le futur, ça retournait, il faisait des commentaires sur sa page Facebook et des autres choses comme ça pour rien. Je n'ai jamais rencontré un sur un. Jamais. Même à ce jour-là, je n'ai jamais rencontré. Et ouais, c'était petite bataille pour rien contre Daniel Dye. Alors,
That's such a touchy subject.
Yeah. Même nous autres à Shop, parce que notre gars de PR, Layton, il est maintenant à GMS. On jasait avec lui un peu à cause de ça. Et même à la Shop, on parle pas de ça parce que c'est comme. Ouais, c'est comme. Tu dis son nom et c'est comme. Ouais, ça cause des problèmes. C'est comme. Oh, il est ça, blablabla. Ouais.
Parce que
et c'est pas optimal.
Je crois avoir compris qu'elle disait que. Elle l'avait bloqué, non, en fait?
Non, même pas. Elle a donné la voix en bas, mais il avait besoin d'un jaune. Alors,
il a créé le jaune lui-même.
Il a besoin d'un jaune, il a craché par exprès. Alors.
Il aurait craché sa voiture exprès, quoi.
Ouais.
Bah, c'est bien.
he said that's definitely something stuff about him spinning you out because you gave him room.
Et à GMS, il y a des gens qui en ont parlé de ça ou...
Non, mais Ouais. C'est l'an passé, c'était en janvier ou février.
Ouais.
Alors,
Et we talk about Pensacola and Five Flags Speedway. In the future, you think you will do super late model race, for example?
There's a big possibility. We do have some offers right now. So maybe in near future it would be in the talks. Right now, it's just we're questioning it a little bit.
Ok. Et elle sait pour quelle équipe ou quelle voiture ou...
ben, c'est pas.
Ouais, c'est pas vraiment.
Ouais.
Okay, and I put this picture, and on this picture it's your husband, correct?
It's my fiance.
Fiancé, like in
Yeah.
France, we say the same words. And est-ce que tu peux rappeler Eric ce qu'il est en train de faire, TJ?
Allez, check. Alors, j'ai une photo. Ah, il glue les noix. Il est en train de mettre les noix sur le tire pour les pit stops.
Ok, et ça, tu peux rappeler rapide ce que ça permet en fait, ça permet de gagner du temps en fait.
Ouais, ça prend un peu de temps, mais ouais, juste la colle sur les noix, tu mets sur le tire, tu vas mettre de la chaleur là-dessus, il faut que ça reste. Et oui, lui, il fait ça pour JD, il fait ça pour Steph pendant qu'il course de temps en temps quand il n'y a pas sur le calendrier à la même temps.
Et on voit, we see the tire are used on this week. And c'est des pneus usés à l'arrière.
Ouais, c'est des scuffs.
Yeah, those are scrubs.
D'accord. Et c'est avec ces pneus-là que tu vas prendre le départ ou c'est des pneus lors des changements de pneus, tu remets des pneus usés?
Pit stop.
Moins usés, du coup?
Ça va être pit stop pour ça.
C'est des pneus de pit stop?
Ouais. I mean, you probably use them for your pit stop, right?
Yeah. Yep. So when we got, I don't want to go by this. When we got the fresh set of tires for qualifying that were flat spotted, we did save. I think, I don't know if we saved all of them or just 2. And then we did have a set of scrubs that we got just for backups.
Did you buy them from anybody?
I'm not sure if this is what we came with. We do come with already a set of tires, so I'm not 100% sure.
Je ne savais pas s'ils ont acheté pendant le week-end. C'est pas vraiment elle qui fait tout ça.
D'accord.
Ouais.
Ok, ça marche. Et il y avait Axel qui me repose la question pour savoir si elle connaissait Charles Lacar. Je sais pas si tu vois.
Non.
Mais non, elle connaît pas. Je lui ai demandé tout
On
à
a
l'heure.
fait NASCAR.
Elle s'en souvient pas. It's a question about if you know Charles Lacar. Again.
Yeah.
So I answer no. You can't remember about.
Don't remember. I feel like I do. I feel like I've seen him and talked to him, but I would have to see him again just to think. I can't.
Yes.
I'm like 95% sure I know who we're talking about. It's just been like a hectic day for me during the testing because I was a nervous wreck.
J'ai pas compris la blague.
Elle était nerveuse pendant toute la journée à Daytona.
Il était nerveux, c'est ça?
Non, elle était nerveuse.
Elle était nerveuse.
Elle teste à Daytona dans un. Elle va à short track à sa piste à Daytona, tu sais.
Ah oui, d'accord.
Ouais, you go from your home track to Daytona. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Bah,
the most I've went was maybe 70 miles per hour, and then I go right from that to doing 170 at Daytona. So it was a big jump, but you know what? Like the first 2 laps was and then after that, I was like, man, I want to do this all day.
and you've got your super speedway license after this test?
Yep. Yeah, I got approved for super speedways and basically every track, intermediate, road course, short track. I'm good to go with everything.
And say this license don't work for truck series, for example. You need to have another license for truck series, or with the ARCA license you can maybe do a truck series race?
I'm not sure how that works. I would have to get my other than my truck credentials, I think I'm good to go any truck race that they have.
Yeah. I think you're eligible for pro tracks, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mostly les petits courses comme Bristol, Martinsville, Iowa, des choses comme ça, avec sa permis de ARCA. Je
Ça peut
pense
le faire.
qu'elle peut le faire,
Ouais.
mais les plus gros, comme
Mais
dans
un
le
mile et
passé,
demi, ça va être chaud.
ouais, dans le passé, du monde poussait le ARCA Daytona pour être approuvé pour faire le ARCA Camping World, ARCA Camp, le truck Daytona et l'Xfinity Daytona.
Ok,
Non, ça
et
se-
j'ai pas regardé le calendrier, mais est-ce qu'il y a encore des courses Super Speedway ARCA
Yeah,
dans le
oui.
calendrier? Yeah. And you think you will do a Super Speedway race this year?
Probably not unless we had full sponsorship deal going on. I am for this year focusing on short tracks, intermediate tracks. So all the small tracks. Next year I'm hoping to do the full shebang. So the full ARCA series. So fingers crossed it works.
En
Ok.
train excuse, oui.
Vas-y, traduis.
Ah oui. En train de le penser l'année prochaine, de plus. Car elle n'a pas vraiment beaucoup de commanditaires pour l'instant. Alors, elle veut. Cette année, c'est seulement pour les short tracks et les intermédiaires, peut-être, de temps en temps. Mais l'année prochaine, elle pense à full time. Si elle a des commanditaires, si elle peut faire tout ça.
D'accord. And how much is a year in a ARCA series race with the fast track racing? I know it's not the same amount of money if you race for Joe Gibbs Racing or if you race for fast track racing, but how much is for fast track racing 1 year, one full year?
So for fast track, I believe it's 750,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. So like when you break it down like per track, I think a short track's 20 grand a race. So it's very difficult when you come from being a rookie that no one knows of. It is very difficult to come up with that kind of sponsorship. So we basically break everything down to like each sponsor would sponsor like $5 grand. So if we can get this many sponsors of $5 grand, it'll give us a race, you know? So that's why like we don't always have the sponsorship. So that's why we're not racing a full season, only part-time.
Dites qu'un full-time, même avec Fast Track, ça coûte à peu près 750 000 $ pour la saison. Et si tu fais un breakdown chaque course, ça fait comme à peu près 20 000 par course. Alors ça, pour elle, c'est pas un mauvais deal à cause que, un course régulier pour l'équipe, ça coûte à peu près double. Je vais faire un course. Et oui, c'est le breakdown comme ça. C'est pas facile pour elle parce qu'elle n'a pas beaucoup de commanditaires pour l'instant. Alors, quand elle reçoit les commanditaires, elle fait un breakdown de comme, toi, tu peux me donner 5 000, toi, tu peux donner 10 000, des choses comme ça pour que ça ajoute à la fin pour faire un course.
Okay.
Mais quand tu n'as pas beaucoup de commanditaires ou pas de full-time commanditaires, tu peux pas faire comme je vais faire 3 courses avec ça et c'est la saison avec ça. C'est vraiment difficile.
Et je sais pas si j'ai bien compris, mais the short tracks is more affordable? Or...
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, compared to super speedways, I think our super speedway is 45,000. So it's short tracks is a lot more affordable for us right now, and with getting the seat time, it makes it a little bit easier for us anyway.
Okay.
Has to do with the commercial TV, doesn't it?
Yes, and Super Speedway is more on TV than, for example, Toledo. Toledo is not on NBC or Fox Sport 2, maybe. I can't remember if Toledo is on TV.
what after the Xfinity race.
It's just an example I have in brain. Si ça se dit en, ça se dit en anglais. Is your fiancé? It's your fiancé on this picture?
Yep.
So
Jack.
he do everything for fast track racing. He tire specialist and tire changer.
So he kind of got dragged into this. For me, I'm all about making memories and, you know, taking it on for the rest of our lives. So I'm like, all right, you're going to be working this weekend. They were already there for Pocono. He, being that he works for JD Motorsports as the tire guy at the track, they were at Pocono that weekend too. And our race was before the Xfinity race. So I'm like, all right, you're getting to work on my car. So get ready.
Okay, and Alex think it's MAV TV. MAV TV. I don't know if you know MAV TV for Toledo. And he asked if you do all the series in 2022 or you do a full-time season, and est-ce que after that you will continue with fast track racing, or you want to change the team?
So what we are in the talks of is 2022 is hopefully going to be a full season for us. It may be with fast track or it may be with a different team, but right now we're thinking about staying with fast track. We're still trying to get our feet wet a little bit and try to learn what this sport kind of has to offer in the higher ranks anyway. So it's a big adjustment for us. So we're not trying to dive right in. We're just trying to swim a little bit. So hopefully, whatever our decision it comes to, you'll see it. We'll release it on all of our social medias.
Peut-être que probablement l'année prochaine, je sais pas, parce que maintenant, j'espère que ça va être avec Fast Track, juste à cause qu'elle est déjà là, il peut avoir un deal parce qu'elle était déjà avec cette équipe. Et la chose plus importante pour l'instant, c'est l'expérience, parce que c'est super important. Mais ça se peut qu'elle va être avec une autre équipe. Je sais pas jusqu'à maintenant, c'est vraiment loin d'un route. Mais quand ça arrive, ça va être sur les médias sociaux, sur Stephanie Moyer Racing, partout. Alors, ouais.
Et est-ce qu'elle peut nous dire what's the difference? I goes on the technical part. The difference between NARCA car ARCA National and the difference between NARCA National and ARCA East car.
So what they did was ARCA East and ARCA West, they used to be the K&N series. And so NASCAR bought out ARCA and the K&N was dying. So they kind of merged the K&N into the ARCA series. So that's why you have ARCA East, West, and then the ARCA Main series. But I hope what they do is kind of combine everything into one. So it's just ARCA, being that the car counts aren't that great on the West and the East side. But when you have the ARCA Main National Series, it looks a lot better. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's kind of how it came to evolve. And I think it's still evolving as we speak.
Elle pense que fusionner toutes les divisions, ce serait bien mieux pour le sport, en fait.
Ouais, c'est ça. He says probably putting them all together would be better for the sport entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, only because you have the car counts are the best when it's all them together, you know.
Les car counts, là, les chars, là, à Ouest, des courses, il y a 9 chars, 10 chars. À Est, même chose. Mais quand c'est les deux en même temps, ça faut comme 25 chars. Alors.
D'accord. Ouais, si tu fusionnes, ça ferait beaucoup plus de monde en piste parce que là, sur chaque division, tu as 10 voitures en piste, en fait. C'est ça?
Ouais, exactement.
Donc, ouais, c'est pas énorme. Moi, j'ai vu les courses qu'elle a faites, c'était 13 voitures en piste. À Pensacola, for example, it was 13 cars on the track only, and Est-ce que c'est ça qu'elle dit? En fait, finalement, fusionner les deux, ça mettrait plus de voitures en piste, quoi.
Ouais, parce que, well, race that you did stuff, the first race you did, what did you have, like 15 cars in it?
Yeah, we had 15 scheduled, and then I think 2 dropped out, and then there was a start and park. So really, if you think about it, we actually only had about between 11 and 13 cars.
Ouais, c'est ce que je te dis. La première chose qu'elle faisait, tu supposais avoir 15 chars, 2 à drop out, un était un start and park. Alors à la fin, ça fait comme 12 chars
Ouais,
pour la course.
c'est pas beaucoup.
Et même, il fait des start and park, même en ARCA, avec 6 chars que ça.
Parce que c'est un peu... C'est pas bête de faire un... It's not stupid to do a start and park in ARCA series.
No, not at all. Like it helps the team, and it also helps you if you're in the point system. If you're racing for the points, a start and park really isn't that bad. I mean, it doesn't look great to the spectators and like fans and everything because you start and then you're parking and they're like, well, what's going on? And so it doesn't help you and you and the fans' perspectives about you and of you, but it does help you yourself in the point system and gaining experience and learning new tracks.
Okay. Ça marche. And Axel is agree with you for make one main division, one main league in ARCA series. And il dit que quand tu as une combinaison de 2 séries, effectivement, il y a plus de monde.
Je veux des comments.
Et ça mettrait plus de lumière sur le sport. Ok. And I will check my questions. It's I can't remember with the 12 if what track is on this photo.
I want to say that's Nashville, the Nashville Fairgrounds. That's one of my favorite pictures. That's actually my background on my phone.
Yeah. You have
favorite pictures.
A very good photographer. It's a very cool photo and very nice. And what's your impressions? What your feelings about Nashville Speedway, the track?
Nashville was a very hard track for me to adjust to. I do the iRacing just to get myself kind of prepared to what I'm going to have to learn when I get there, but I could not stay out of the wall coming out of turn 2 on iRacing. So I kind of was nervous when I got to Nashville and I've seen it. I'm like, this is going to be so hard. And I could not get a line for the life of me in that car because we had such a tight car that I just want to go to the wall in the turns. So it was a really tough track to learn from. If I could do it again, I want a car that's not upset, but that was a tough track, but I did like it though.
C'était un circuit difficile, mais elle l'a beaucoup aimé, d'accord. Ouais, Nashville, c'est particulier. Ouais. Et tu fais, you do iRacing race?
I don't do the races. I just usually go to practice or I'll host a private session. Mm-hmm. So I don't really like racing with other people as much as everyone says that you should. I just don't like the fighting and the nonsense of people just on there to wreck each other just because they want to make someone mad. So I'll do the AI races if anything, or like I'll have a couple of my friends and family members. My dad comes on with me and we'll, do a session and stuff. And we'll even host a race with people that we know that actually come out from competing in the leagues, the iRacing leagues. They'll come on there, I don't like the nonsense that comes with it. So
if you want, you can race with us. I have some friends drive for the fun and drive seriously, and indeed in iRacing it's very comment dire, c'est un peu n'importe quoi, c'est un peu le bordel parfois. Je sais pas comment tu dis le bordel.
Bordel. Wow. C'est vraiment dommage. Je sais pas.
maybe on sometimes in iRacing, it's crazy. You have, like you said, it's you have a person like wreck us and wreck your car, and it's a bit frustrating, I think, for you. Maybe.
Yeah, just a little bit, but I try to stay away from going on unless I know who's like all in that session. I'll go into it, but other than that, I just I use it for. I don't want to say seat time because there is a big difference. It's for me, iRacing only helps me see the track a little bit and try to figure out a line. Other than that, like when you can't feel it underneath your butt and you can't feel like what the car is doing, like physically, it's kind of tough. So I just go to get the lines and kind of see the track a little bit. But I kind of take it seriously when it comes to this. And then you have like those other kids that are just like, ha, I see your name. We're going to wreck you. You're a girl. Like, I've had that happen so many times. So that's why I just don't go into these sessions.
Okay. So if you want to race with us,
I'll be fine with that.
You'll never understand what's happening on the radio.
Non, je dis ça parce qu'on a déjà eu un pilote de NASCAR Will and Race. Tu sais, je sais pas si tu as vu Eric. Ulysse Delso, un pilote de NASCAR Will and Race Series. Il avait fait une course d'endurance avec nous. One day with my team, we have a NASCAR Will and Race Series driver who raced with us for an endurance race, 6 hours of Watkins Glen, and it was pretty cool, and he want to do that again. And in October, I think we have a race. It's World America, or I can't remember, but if you want.
Yeah, send me info.
So I check the chat box. Ah oui, il y a la question pourquoi parfois rouler dans la 12 et pourquoi dans la 1. Est-ce que c'est lié à des sponsors? Je crois qu'elle l'avait dit au début. Est-ce qu'il y a des points pour les propriétaires ou pour une autre raison? Est-ce que tu peux la poser cette question? Allô Eric? Non, je lisais les commentaires dans le chat. Il y a Axel qui demande, et je crois qu'elle avait déjà répondu, elle a roulé dans la 12, dans la 1. Et est-ce que c'était lié au sponsor ou au point propriétaire ou pour une autre raison? Est-ce que tu peux reposer la question?
Je n'ai pas compris la question, je n'ai pas entendu.
La dernière, regarde la chatbox et si tu peux traduire la question de Axel.
Pourquoi parfois tu roules dans la 12, pourquoi dans la... Est-ce que c'est un des sponsors? Oh yeah, he's asking Steph, why do you sometimes drive in the 12? Why sometimes in the 1? Is it the sponsor thing? And yeah.
So what normally happens is I'm not assigned to one car. So we kind of, if we don't bring enough sponsorship in, we kind of jump from car to car. So if someone brings a full sponsor in, they're entitled to whatever in that sponsorship letter that they have, whatever numbers in that letter. So if, say, someone on our team, say Tony, he gets a full sponsorship ride and they want it in the 12, he'll be in the 12. And for me, I personally like the 01 better. I'm more fitted for that car. And so it all depends. It could be a short track, I'll be in the 12. Normally I'm in the 12 for the short tracks, but if it's like a intermediate or a super speedway kind of thing, it would be in the 01. But I guess it all just depends on the sponsorship. Whoever's bringing enough sponsorship gets the better car.
Alors, ça dépend le commanditaire de plus. À cause que il y a un char qui est mieux que l'autre. Et des autres choses que quand tu s'en vas à un commanditaire, tu dis ouais, je vends numéro 12 ou numéro 01, c'est dans le breakdown. C'est eux autres qui vont avoir le char. Il n'y a aucun pilote dans Fast Track qui est supposé d'être sur un char. Ils sont toujours comme ouais, Steph est dans le 01, dans le 12, peut-être dans le futur, dans la 11, on ne sait pas. Ça vraiment dépend des commanditaires, ça vraiment dépend de la situation. que quand la course a fait des short track dans le numéro 12, non, oui. Oui, non, elle fait le short track dans le numéro 01. Et elle aime ça plus parce qu'elle est plus fitée pour cette char. C'est des chars différents, sont construits totalement différents. Mais des intermediate, des super speedway, tout ça fait d'autres chars. Parce que c'est le char qui est mieux. Et chaque fois qu'elle course cette char, elle a des commanditaires. Alors, elle vaut le meilleur char.
D'accord.
Et elle préfère le 01 plus.
Parce que du coup, elle est habituée au short track, en fait.
Oui, exact.
Elle est plus familière des short track et la 12 est plus, tu disais, est plus fabriquée pour les super speedway et les speedway finalement.
Ouais, exact.
Okay. And you did a race in modified, and Eric said to me, you did not start.
On dit trop choses parce que le monde qui travaille là-dessus peut-être est sur le live. Sans acheter le char. Et ouais.
Est-ce qu'elle peut nous expliquer son expérience un peu en modified? C'était sa première expérience de toute sa carrière en modified?
So he wants to know about the modified race that you did a couple weeks ago, and how was the experience? Have you ever driven them before?
It was the longest 48 hours of my life. So the race is Saturday. We brought the modified down to the track Friday afternoon, and we've been having problems with the power steering lines coming off, and we're leaking fuel, and the steering wheel is rubbing against my seat belt, and it was just like problem after problem. And I was kind of disappointed, being that we went into the next day in practice race day in practice, and we were doing good, and then the car just lost all power, and we're like, oh, so we fixed it. We started that race, and it was just first it was a wreck fest, because Mahoning Valley is a fourth mile, so it's just a little circle track. You're constantly turning, and so we had so many modifieds on the roster that day that we were pretty much like super tight, and trying to stay on the lead lap, it was just really hard, because you have guys like Matt Hirschman that are dominating in the Wheeling series, and coming into that with an upset car was a little difficult, and we didn't get to finish that race. We lost power on the backstretch. Well, what backstretch, but a backstretch. And so we had to pull in the infield, and it was a rough 48 hours. I'm beyond grateful to get the opportunity to make a debut in a modified, because ever since I was a little kid, I said to my dad, I want to be in a modified. And I told my mom, if the ARCA series never worked out, I want to do the NASCAR Wheeling series in the tour mods. So for right now, we are going to do a try number 2 at my home track, Evergreen Raceway, and see how that works. But I already spoke to the car owner, and we're going to try for a better day this time.
Alors, elle disait que c'était le plus long 48 heures de sa vie à commencer le week-end, parce que pas de problème avec le char en pratique, problème avec le char pendant le qualif, et toutes sortes de choses, comme toutes sortes de problèmes plus tard aussi. Ils ont changé tout ça, presque tout le char à complet. Finalement, elle a coursé, elle a perdu power encore. La piste qu'elle coursait,
elle était ronde. Ouais,
elle
était ronde, il n'y avait pas vraiment de.
Ouais, exact. Pour faire des courses. Alors, la course, quand même, c'était un wreckfest. Il y avait des crashs partout et toutes des choses comme ça. Mais finalement, elle a perdu drive dans le char. Alors, elle n'a pas fini la course. Mais elle disait aussi, depuis qu'elle était jeune, elle voulait conduire un Wheeling Modified, ou dans la série Wheeling Modified, dans un mode en général. Elle dit ça à sa père. Elle dit que si ARCA ne marche pas, je vais faire ça. Je veux conduire dans Wheeling Modified. Et c'était comme un petit rêve pour elle. Elle a une deuxième chance. Elle va le courser encore à sa home track à Evergreen. Et elle va réessayer, j'espère. Elle espère, et moi j'espère aussi que le char va marcher bien.
with the same car.
Yeah, with the same car. He asked me if I wanted to change the car because he does have a late model I did a debut in. And so he said, do you want to change cars or you want to try the mod again? I said, we're going to try the mod again. I didn't really get a full chance at this, so I do want to give it another shot.
Donc, si je traduis bien, en fait, il a eu aussi un late model, c'est ça, et il lui a proposé de faire une course de late, et il lui a dit, ou alors tu veux retourner sur le modified, et elle a choisi finalement le modified, même si c'est la même voiture, en fait.
Ouais,
c'est ça?
exactement.
Ouais.
C'est un rêve.
Mais c'est son rêve. Mais it's less expensive to have one season full time with a mod than ARCA.
It could get a little expensive, but I think if you own the car, yes, it'll be less, the least expensive, but racing someone else's car, you're obviously not getting the payouts that the owner is. So you kind of fork out what you have. Well, that with sponsorship too. Sponsorship comes a long way with that as well, but you're kind of racing just for the experience. So unless you have your own car, it's a little different, but it is a little bit more cheaper than ARCA.
D'accord, ok. C'est un peu moins cher que l'ARCA et puis c'est plus sympa si t'es propriétaire en fait. Ta propre voiture, c'est moins cher, mais ils peuvent te faire payer cher si t'as un invité en fait. Si tu veux payer ton volant, ça peut être aussi cher que l'ARCA finalement. C'est ça?
Ouais. Parce que quand tu achètes le char, tu achètes tout avec, mais si tu rentes le char, tout ça, tu achètes tout le reste sur le char. Alors ça coûte cher.
Et je veux pas rentrer dans les détails, mais c'était cher sa participation où elle était invitée.
But was it a pricey deal?
For that weekend, not really, no.
Okay, it was comment on dit une invitation? Invitation. Une invitation. C'était une invitation.
Like kind of like an invite type thing.
I know the guy that we go through work with, if you want to say with the bod, he is actually a friend of ours that has been helping me since I started racing. So we kind of are really close, and he knows what I'm capable of, and he wants to see me succeed in everything that has to involve racing. So this man will do whatever he can to put me in a car.
Le gars, c'est un ancien ami de la famille, et lui, il veut le succès, il veut tout pour elle. Comme n'importe quoi, il va l'aider, elle. N'importe quoi.
D'accord, donc ok. Oui. Donc c'est ce qui lui a permis de faire le modified finalement.
Oui.
Ok.
Ouais, exactement.
Ça marche. Et donc sa prochaine course en modified, tu disais c'était quand? Parce que du coup je prends un petit papier.
When's the race? It's at Evergreen. When is it?
We haven't got a date yet. I'm still working with my ARCA schedule. So whenever I can get home, I'm in South Carolina right now, and my home track's in Pennsylvania. So whatever off weekend that I could really get. Sometimes I travel with JD Motorsports for backup help. So it all depends on what my schedule is looking like. But hopefully it'll be before November.
Pas avant November. Pas avant November. Et la prochaine course d'ARCA qu'elle va faire, c'était, j'ai oublié déjà.
C'est Milwaukee. When's the Milwaukee race?
That is Sunday the 29th.
Oh,
I believe it starts at 3.
Sunday 29th. The same time of the Daytona race.
Are they in Daytona?
Yeah, they're in Daytona. I'm not sure. I'm trying to look at the schedule. I think the Daytona race is a Friday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's Friday this year, so.
Yeah, in ARCA.
Ouais,
en ARCA, c'est Friday, c'est vendredi. C'est ça.
Quoi?
Non, je disais the Friday, parce que Friday, it's the ARCA race at Daytona, it's correct?
Oh, no, the Xfinity race is Friday, yeah. And then the ARCA race is Sunday at Milwaukee.
Okay, and you take it's your fiance. He worked at GD Motorsports Friday, and you take a plane for race at Milwaukee the Sunday.
I'm still debating on when I'm leaving. He will not be coming with me this weekend or next weekend. So I'm a one-man band until I get there. My parents will be there. So thank God someone's going to be there. But now I'm all by myself. I don't know when I'm leaving yet.
Jay.
Elle sait pas vraiment comment on va y aller en fait. C'est ça?
Ben, c'est pas jusqu'à maintenant parce que TJ s'en vient pas pendant le week-end. Je pense qu'il va rester à Daytona à cause de la pluie et tout ça. Parce que on a de la pluie chaque année là-bas. Mais quand elle va être toute seule, mais quand elle rentre à la piste, elle va l'avoir ses parents.
D'accord. Ok. Donc le Sunday 29 at Milwaukee, we can see you race again. Okay, it's cool. We will throw that.
What is there?
Which car are you in?
I want to say the 01.
Okay.
I'll be at the shop next week and I will find out. I normally don't know until last minute, so preferably the 01. I like the 01 better.
Ouais, ça se peut qu'elle va être dans la 01 à Milwaukee, mais on ne sait pas. Elle va aller à la shop cette semaine et on va le savoir quand elle est là.
Okay, and you already race at Milwaukee, or it's your first time?
First time I'm going in blind.
Again.
Yep.
Okay, and maybe, hopefully, we will have Daniel Dye in the race. And it was good. And I see the crash of Daniel Dye. I see the last time là. Il y a eu un gros crash avec Daniel Dye.
Non, c'est pas un gros crash, il a juste entourné un peu. Elle n'était pas dans cet accident, non.
Non, elle n'était pas dans cet accident, mais Daniel Dye s'était fait.
J'ai envoyé quelque chose sur Messenger, c'était le Reese's Close Move. J'ai envoyé ça à toi. Il n'y a pas que non.
Ah oui. Ah, sur Twitter, c'est ça? C'est le lien Twitter que tu m'as envoyé. Faudra que je regarde, ok. Ça marche. Bah, n'hésitez pas, les amis, si vous avez des questions en français ou if you are an English spectators, don't hesitate to ask questions. And we have the time. And Iowa, you have some brakes issues. What type of issues you had? Je sens que c'est encore une histoire drôle, ça.
So in the beginning, everything was fine. Practice and qualifying, everything was good. And then I don't even remember how many laps we got to, but towards the end, they started getting really, really soft. And then they started going to the floor a little bit. And I didn't lose them completely, but I did say over the radio, I'm coming in and we're done for the day, because I would rather take safety precautions and not destroy the car if I already knew what the issue is, because we wouldn't have had enough time to fix them.
Ok. Ils n'avaient pas le temps de réparer, et puis elle a été surprise parce que la pédale a touché le.
Ça commençait à être un peu mou. Et quand la pédale, ça continue à foncer trop, tu perds tes freins. C'est quoi? Ou tu es en train de perdre des freins, et après ça, ça va juste. Il va avoir aucune pédale.
Ouais, elle a sauvé la voiture, en fait. Elle n'a pas craché.
Exactement. C'est la safety, ça. C'est à cause que. Tu peux pas détruire le char pour rien.
C'est ça, et puis comme tu disais, pas pour une 25e place, ça vaut pas le coup. And what's your better... quels sont meilleurs souvenirs? J'ai des trous de mémoire.
Cette année?
Quels sont meilleurs souvenirs sur cette piste? Elle l'avait déjà faite?
Lequel?
L'Iowa.
Did you have a favorite memory from Iowa when you were there? Did you have anything good?
Probably not even during the race. I want to say at the end of the day before we left, the team owner said that I've came a long way since the Daytona testing, and normally we have a talk, like our post-race talk of what happened, why this happened, and what could we do better. And this was the first time where we did not have that talk. So I was so excited for that because it's just like, it just reminded me that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm getting better each and every track that I go to. And for me, I'm a quick learner. So I pick up a track within the first 5 laps. So unless it's Nashville's different, but normally, like, you know, any track that I can go to, I usually pick it up really quick. And I've been to Iowa before, and I've never raced there, but I've interned for an ARCA team, and we've been to Iowa, and that's one of my favorite tracks. And I'm sure Milwaukee's going to be another favorite track for me too.
Alors, disait un bon souvenir pour elle, c'est après chaque course, c'est toujours quelqu'un, on a ou quelqu'un comme ça, vient avec elle, dit ouais, tu peux faire ça mieux, ça, blablabla. Elle fait des chats après le course, comme un recap, mais comme comme tu peux faire mieux comme type de recap. Mais après la course là-bas, il faisait pas. Ouais, t'es allé. Tu fais des bonnes choses depuis le test à Daytona. Puis, tu fais bonne comme pilote. Et ça, c'était un bon souvenir pour elle. Elle était là dans le passé, elle faisait un internship avec Merci, notre, en ARCA. Et elle était là déjà.
Ok.
Une bonne piste pour elle. Je pense que ça va être la même chose que Milwaukee.
Et Axel lui demande quel est son circuit préféré où elle a pu rouler et est-ce qu'elle rêverait de rouler sur un certain circuit en particulier.
So, do you have a favorite track you've driven on, and what's a dream track of yours to drive on?
So my favorite track that I've driven on was Daytona. I love the wide open throttle. I am all for going fast. So I prefer, being that I've never raced on a super speedway, I can't really say much, but for being able to test, I love the wide open throttle. For me, my dream track to go on would most there's two. It's either Bristol. Well, one's Bristol. I've never been there, and I've always wanted to go. I've been on an iRacing there, and I would love to go to Watkins Glen. I want to do a road course so badly, and Watkins Glen is one of my favorite road courses.
Ok, interesting.
Alors, piste préférée, c'est Daytona. Elle a pas coursé, mais elle a testé Daytona cette année. Et parce qu'elle aime juste aller vite. Et les rêves pistes, c'est Bristol, c'est un. Et elle a de chance de le faire ça peut-être l'année prochaine. Et Watkins Glen aussi, parce qu'elle aime les routières, elle veut courser sur un circuit routière et Watkins Glen, c'est piste de rêve.
Ok, et tu fais un peu de karting ou des trucs comme ça?
Do you do any karting or anything like that?
No, I still have yet to go to GoPro down here. It's a really big outdoor go-kart track, and everyone goes there, and I still have yet to go. I just picked up my hero cards the other day, and we've met at the GoPro parking lot, and I was getting the itch to actually go pay to get out there. So one of these weekends, I'm going to have to go.
You have to. It's so much fun.
I know. I hear so much about it. But any go-kart races, no. I usually do a couple races when I go home. I get the opportunity from one of our fellow racers, and I just haven't had the time every time I go home to actually be able to go have fun.
Damn. Ouais, elle disait qu'elle fait pas de karting comme dans des courses. Elle veut courser à GoPro Motorplex. C'est un super GoPro classe de go-kart en Caroline Nord. Moi, je suis allé là plusieurs fois, c'est incroyable.
Ouais, je sais, je connais un peu the GoPro Motorplex.
Yeah.
The boss of GoPro Motorplex is Justin Marks.
Is it?
I think.
Oh.
Ouais, c'est Justin Marks, il me semble. C'est le patron de Trackhouse Racing.
Non, mais...
ouais, c'est très impressionnant. Il y a Lucas, il nous en parlait aussi.
Ah, peut-être. I don't know. Do you think, is Justin Marks the owner there? Do you know that? So, I don't know that either. I wouldn't doubt it. He owns everything now.
Yeah.
Si, je crois que c'est lui.
Mais, non, c'est juste frère. Ouais. Elle fait pas de karting professionnel comme dans les
Ouais,
courses. Have you been to the Spartanburg Speed Park?
No, no. We went there. Well, we drove by there yesterday. I literally drove by there yesterday, and we don't do anything fun. Okay, we really don't. It's literally work, and you come home, eat, sleep, and repeat. That's literally all it is. So I never really have the opportunity to go actually do these things.
When I come back, we're doing all that stuff.
Yes. We have a lot of catching up.
Il y a une place à Spartanburg, proche de le shot de Clemens. C'est comme il y a un arcade là-bas, il y a du mini-pod, toutes sortes de choses comme ça, mais il y a un petit piste de karting là-bas. Comme pas des vrais karts, tu sais, comme les karts. Sont pas vraiment vite, no bumping, tout ça. Mais si tu s'en vas avec un bon groupe, moi, je suis allé avec beaucoup de mes amis de course. On avait un course juste nous-mêmes. Mon Dieu, là. On coursait fort pour un petit karting. Saying, like, when we've gone there a few times, just you race so hard. You get the right group of people together. Like, we're gonna go.
I can only imagine.
Oh, boy.
Someone's buying dinner that night.
Ah, vous avez couru là-bas combien de fois? Plusieurs fois ou?
Pas avec elle, on dit que elle fait aucune chose de fun. Like, she does nothing fun. So, moi, moi, je suis allé là plusieurs fois, mais elle, non.
D'accord.
Quand je retourne aux États-Unis, je vais.
Other than racing, that's about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Et
Elle, c'est vraiment, elle travaille pendant la journée, elle course pendant le week-end, elle mange, elle dort, elle joue à Animal Crossing, c'est tout.
Yeah.
You understand a little bit of French or not at all when you heard because Eric he speak French but he speak a Quebec French, you know. It's a very difficult French. It's not the easier French, you know. And maybe it's you heard French like me or a real French. Maybe you will understand a lot of things because
I don't, but as soon as I heard Animal Crossing, I kind of put two and two together.
Yeah. I do speak French at the shop though sometimes.
Everyone says you speak in cursive every time.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like I'm not used to being around someone who speaks another language, and it's just like I don't know. I'm mesmerized when people speak different languages because I'm not used to it. So I'm like looking at them like, keep going.
Il y a déjà des gens, parce qu'on en parle à chaque fois, mais il y a déjà some people talk about the fact that Eric speaks French sometimes, and it's weird. I don't know. I use the good word, but est-ce que pour certains c'est bizarre, par exemple, qu'elle soit avec des gens qui parlent français ou des trucs comme ça?
Do you find it weird when you hear me talking to French people, like on my phone, or I'm talking to Labe? Or somebody like that?
No, I just sit there and I'm like thinking, what are you saying right now?
Or yell at Tommy in French from across the street.
That is so funny. And then like Eric gets so funny when he gets a little frustrated because he like gets mad and then he'll say something in French and I'm like, can you say it again?
C'est exactement le mot que j'ai dit chaque fois. Exactement.
Elle répète à chaque fois ce que tu dis quand t'es frustré, tu dis un truc en français, elle le répète juste après.
Ouais, il y en a un couple de mots que je veux pas dire, mais demande à n'importe qui au Québec, il va te dire. Il y a un qui commence avec un C, un qui commence avec un T. Le T, c'est souvent plus. C'est une église, tu sais. Mais ouais. Ouais, moi j'écris à mon crew chief en français tout le temps avec eux autres autour. Fait des choses comme ça tout le temps.
Tu parles à ton crew chief en français?
Ouais, quand j'essaie de crier à lui.
Et
Quand je suis
il
frustré,
comprend des
je veux pas
trucs? Il comprend des trucs, quoi?
Non, il comprend absolument rien.
Ça
I don't
doit
understand
être
anything.
ça doit être marrant d'être français et de regarder ça.
Ouais.
Et est-ce qu'elle a une voiture, de NASCAR ou de sport, enfin, une voiture de course qu'elle rêverait piloter?
Is
En
there
NASCAR ou en
is there any race car out there that you dream of ever driving? Any series, any race car or anything?
For me, I would like to stay in the NASCAR series. So Cup, yeah, if I can make it all the way, yeah, to Cup series, it would probably be like my long life goal.
That's fun. I
Ok.
did le coupe. Ouais,
Ouais, la voiture de cup, quoi.
le série majeure.
Les séries majeures, ok. Et j'avais vu sur your Facebook page, you did UNOH.
Yeah, I went to school for automotive at UNOH, and I did 2 years. I got my associates, but I also our UNOH is mainly focused on racing and anything in the auto trade field, diesel, agriculture, robotics. Like we do a lot of stuff that involve racing. We have a race club, which is the ARCA series. So we have basically an internship. Any ARCA team that's looking for help, we get assigned a team and a car, and we'll travel on our own expenses to each race to help out. And sometimes it'll be a paid internship. It depends on how nice the team would be, you know, that's willing to help you out a little bit for you helping them out. So kind of like I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And then we have what's it called? It's another club, but it focuses on the motorsports team. So they are dirt race cars, I guess you could say. Our school owns dirt street stocks, dirt modifieds, and we kind of travel. Well, they travel the club to all the other tracks around the United States. So they kind of do what the ARCA team, the race club, does with the ARCA cars, but they focus on dirt. And the ARCA team, obviously, asphalt and, you know, like Illinois dirt. So I did that. I interned for Mason Mitchell for almost the majority of the season. And then Mason did go a different route and ended the ARCA team. So it did get cut a little short, but it did make me want to get more involved.
Pourquoi? Mais j'ai à peu près saisi, mais elle a fait un internship, en fait. C'est ça?
C'est quoi?
You did an internship with an ARCA team?
Yeah. Yep.
Ok. Elle a fait un partenariat, en fait, avec une équipe d'ARCA où elle a fait. Est-ce qu'elle envisage, via ses études à UNOH, de faire, par exemple, ingénieur ou je sais pas. Tu sais, comme. Je sais pas si tu connais
What did
Étienne.
you want to do when you went to UNOH? Stuff?
Sorry.
What did you want to do when you went to UNOH?
I wanted to actually go for high performance instead of taking automotive. I was an auto hypo major, and before I started, I dropped hypo in the sense of taking logic to where you can put, if you know your basic automotive skills, you can put 2 and 2 together if you're really focused into it and can understand the perspectives on it, which that's where I'm kind of biting myself on, because I feel like I could have learned a lot more in high performance than I did in automotive. The automotive was a little outdated. So nowadays, how all the automotive cars, vehicles are more computerized. We didn't really go into depth with the computerized systems. So it kind of was like focused on older stuff versus newer stuff, as high performance would have had newer stuff anyway.
Je sais pas si je peux traduire tout ça parce que c'est beaucoup d'informations, mais c'est comme, elle faisait quand elle a commencé, c'était comme high performance, c'était des choses. Hyper automotive. Et elle a droppé la première partie de ça à cause. C'était. Je sais pas, c'est la logique de la situation et de la programme. Parce qu'il faisait pas beaucoup de choses avec les ordinateurs et les chars de l'ordinateur, mais la future était là et les chars étaient comme ça. Et, ouais. Je peux pas traduire tout, il y avait beaucoup d'informations. J'ai compris l'information, mais je sais pas comment traduire. I understood the information, but I don't know how to translate it.
I'm not. Don't worry. I can change or translate, or it's not. I have 2 other translator. Non, je plaisante. And I see these photos on your Facebook page, and it's your start on racetracks. It's your first time, or it's.
So that one, the decals are yellow. So yes, that was either my rookie year or it was, I think, the second year we had the yellow too. So it was definitely in my rookie stages in the street stocks.
It was in the street stocks on it was the factory stock.
Oh, it was the factory stock. Yep.
Okay, and what's the difference between street stock and factory stock? Is the same thing?
There's a little difference. I don't know exactly what. I think it has something to do with the tires. I'm not 100% sure what the difference is, but mainly, like, my car is technically a street stock, but we just have a factory class. So, like, the factory stocks is literally your car's factory. It has to stay stock from the factory. So street stocks, you have a little more play into adjustments that you can do. Our class, you can't really do much.
Factory stock is really stock.
Yep.
You can't change
so
anything.
They say.
Just the tires, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what their adjustments are allowed, but I know for us, we didn't really have that much.
Ok. Il n'y a pas beaucoup d'ajustements qu'on peut faire sur une factory stock. Il y a juste le body, les pneus peut-être, que tu peux changer. Mais, ok, et le street stock, en fait, il y a plus de modifications possibles. Ok. Les amis, ça va être la fin de cette interview. C'était super sympa d'avoir eu Stéphanie, en tout cas. J'espère que c'était pas trop laborieux pour à écouter ou à regarder. Axel, tu me diras, mais on se débrouille, on essaie de se débrouiller. Tu peux lui dire, thank you, Stéphanie, to be with us tonight or today for you. And hopefully another day after another ARCA race on... I hope I will see you on a super speedway. I think it would be very cool and very impressive to see that.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I love doing interviews, just trying to get my name out there a little bit because I'm still like, no one knows who I am yet. So
yes.
Hopefully we can come out strong for next year, and I'll be happy to come back on again in the near future.
Yeah. Certes, elle est pas célèbre, mais tu peux lui dire qu'on apprécie toujours interviewer des gens de petites équipes ou qui sont même pas connus, qui font du local, du late model simple ou peu importe, tu vois. Si tu peux lui dire.
Oh oui. This is it said it's really impressive. It's really nice to speak to people like you that drive, late model and all sorts of different series and all this stuff. So it's impressive.
Well, thanks.
You know this.
Qui rame. Tu rames un peu, hein, quand même.
On y est trop, nous autres.
Ouais, non, je sais même plus ce que je disais. Non, les amis, c'était vraiment cool. Et Axel say thank you, Stephanie, for coming with us. And like I said, we love have even if you not. I don't have the word of if you are not famous, whatever for us, and we love little teams and drivers start to and discover the ARCA series or NASCAR series. For example, we have Charles Leclerc, like I said tout à l'heure, and it's very interesting. Even if he did just one test, at Super Speedway, it's very interesting to have his feelings and you did several race in ARCA, and it's pretty interesting, and to have your feelings on several tracks, Nashville, etc., Pensacola, for example, Fly Speedway on ARCA, the difference between ARCA Series East and the main series. This stuff like that is very interesting for us. So thank you very much to be with us.
Well, thank you.
Ok, les amis, je vais couper le stream. Si vous n'avez pas d'autres questions, Axel, say to you, I like underdog teams and fast track racing, and it was a fun interview. You like the system of translation, because I asked to my guest, because Jeremy Clements say he likes the system with translation, etc. But the rhythm of you have stop in the interview, the time to translate, and it's not a problem for you?
No, it's not a problem.
Okay.
It's always nice, especially I can see Eric. Hi, Eric.
Yeah.
when you have Eric, it's fun, and he will play Animal Crossing with you after that. No problem.
Yes.
Tu joues à Animal Crossing ou pas?
Ben oui.
Bah oui, tu joues à Animal Crossing, toi?
Depuis l'année passée, ben oui. It's like, do you play Animal Crossing? I was like, yeah. Heck yeah. J'ai acheté mon Nintendo Switch seulement pour ça. L'année passée, quand COVID a commencé.
Ma gueule.
No shame.
TJ makes fun of me because I have to check in every day.
Yeah.
I gotta get those vouchers, man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Oh, Audrey. Hey, Audrey Hutchinson. I don't know if you know Audrey Hutchinson.
Oh, c'est ma copain. La dernière
C'est
fois,
ta
j'ai dit
blonde,
blonde. Ça va aussi, j'ai dit copain. Je pense qu'elle est dehors.
C'est ta copine?
Oui.
D'accord.
Ouais, c'est le même quand je fais mon entrevue, je dis qu'elle était ma blonde. Et t'as
Ouais,
pas compris.
mais en France, on comprend pas ça. Ouais. Okay.
Je pense qu'elle est dehors.
Elle a dit the English aspect really helps.
Ah.
Normal en même temps. No, it's pretty cool, and we wish you good luck for the Milwaukee race.
Thank you, appreciate it.
That with that intention with Axel, and maybe we will talk about that another day.
Absolutely.
So, bonne fin de journée à vous, les Américains, Amérique du Nord, Canada et et à la prochaine. À la prochaine, les amis. Bonne soirée à tous, et on se voit une prochaine fois. Allez, je lance le jingle. À plus, les amis. J'ai perdu mon...